Let's go. Get up. It's that club, baby. You hear that? You can't sit down to that. Okay.
Yo, what up, y'all? It's your boy, Shigluch, LOXD Block, Silverback. Hey, yo, right now I need to shout out the Isupk classes.
I want to give a huge, big, humongous shout out to all the UPK schools.
Shout out to Black Watch, hosted by General Johanna. Word, I need y'all to check out Cross the Line Radio as well, man. They've been open all week from 7 to 9. They ain't shut down because of the corona, the COVID and all that. They rockin' strong, you know what I mean?
Think we got a problem, but really it ain't though. It's one of me and these bitches, I count about 3, 4. Think we got a problem, but homie just all talk. He ain't gon' pop a balloon with a pitchfork. Nah, think we got a problem in the club with this dog. Rude boys, dogs, ladies, everybody.
Hey, I'm just following orders. Let me get one of those slow motion pictures, bro. One of the slow motion pictures.
You gotta shoot at 60 frames per second.
Come on, that.
They say they wanna hit that raw shit. These niggas claiming that they bullshit. These niggas better move and coach shit. Cause if they make the wrong move, it post shit. You see me, they like, ooh, keep on stopping. I'm on my way up and they ain't gon' stop it. They say they wanna hit that raw shit. Coming up, I'm about to boast shit. They see me, they like, ooh, keep on stopping. I'm on my body, real niggas right beside me. Damn right, I brought my army, going up like a rocket, and can't nobody stop me. These niggas garbage, so watch your mouth, boy. Coming all black, slithering house, call me mouth, boy. I'm off the hip like a cowboy. I'm a king, you should bow, boy. Shorty like that, man, you cut up. Nothing I can handle. 144 in the booth, going Rambo. Niggas do you dirty like a stick in a bando. That's why I play the corner like a bum with a banjo. I'ma lead by example. Ooh, keep on sobbing, got this bitch off the hand, got the juice, got the drip, about to hit the bitch with the salt. It ain't rap, it's assault. Can't taste a bitch unless you with the coke. They say they wanna hit that raw shit. These niggas claiming that they bullshit. These niggas better move and coach shit. Cause if they make the wrong move, it coach shit. One way, one way, one way, one way, one way. Coming up on my I do it how a veteran be. You better than me. I'm Reggie at the edge of the key. It's all money, no honey. Think you settling? See, you locked up, fucked up, and it's back to the streets. It's One West. You can check the residency. I reside with soldiers died on the soles of their feet. Cause it's death before designer. Ain't no coward in me. Cause I'm cold as a bitch's shoulder. You ain't calling a week. Get the cooking on this beat. Hope you like it well done. Got them killers rolling with me and they all red rum, red rum, red rum. Got you fuckers scared some. Get the banging on this beat till my fucking head numb. Black Glock, red drum, black and yellow air ones. Homie, you ain't got a vest. I suggest you wear one.
Told these niggas we was going up. They was doing a lot of talking. Now these niggas ain't saying shit.
Feeling like a legend in this shit. Lil nigga, I'm past veteran. Never feeling third. Lil nigga, I'm past second. Guns, I gotta have them all like Ash Ketchum. Shotty break a nigga ribs up like his wife left him. We all stepping. Kill you with kindness cause I'm dead nice. That 5'7" put you 6 feet, not talking height. That judge giving out 5, but you doing life. These hands are rude GPS. A mean right. That's mean right. We build different, you know the vibes. And we something authentic, we notarized. I keep a 144 because I know a cod. Noah's Ark, you know I'm with animals.
camera.
It's recording.
Okay.
Yo, I'm Desire One.
All the sides out. Whoa.
Yo, I'm the top of the pop.
And this is Captain Ariel with
Yo, I'm Desire One.
Isaiah Wall.
Yo, I'm the top of the pop.
Shalom, Lord in Christ, Israel. This is the Isupk. We start on 1 West Hall in Harlem, New York, under Commander Jonah Yohana. And for tonight, we're going to get into brotherhood. We want to show you some different precepts about what brotherhood really is. I'm giving you some examples of what not to do and what to do. First, can anybody tell me the definition of brotherhood? If you don't have it, can you Google it for me?
So I'll go ahead and Google that for you right
now.
All right, so the definition of brotherhood. The relationship between brothers is the first definition.
Slaka, you speak it to the mic.
Oh, Slaka.
Thank you.
The definition of brotherhood. First definition is listed as the relationship between brothers, the bonds of brotherhood. Second definition says an association, society, or community of people linked by a common interest.
Bang,
religion.
that one right there.
Okay, common.
Said,
common interest, religion, or trade.
Right. A common religion, a common trade, and a common interest. Here in the Isupk, we have a brotherhood because we all have the same interests, the same goal, and we all have the same enemy. Now, to start off, a lot of Christians like to talk about who your brother is. You know what I mean? About because Christians like to say everybody's your brother and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So they say, who is your brother? If we can go, so for all your young kids back there, in the Bible, who is your brother?
Let me get the mic. In the Bible, who is your brother?
Usually everybody around me.
Is it everybody?
He said it again.
He said usually everybody around me.
He said usually everybody around him.
Everybody around him.
That nigga, you. What did the Bible say? Who is your brother? He said anybody around him. What you say? Black people.
My black brother.
My black brothers. That's your brother. Okay. What about you?
People nationality.
That's people who what?
People that that's like
in our bloodline. Okay, so you got one in our bloodline, black people, and then this young man right here said anybody around him.
He said anybody around him.
Anybody. It don't matter. Anybody. You can be anybody.
God bless your Christian heart.
God bless you.
But the brothers inside the Bible is only talking about blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. Can somebody give me Leviticus chapter 25 and verse 35? It's going to prove that whenever you see brethren, stranger, sojourner, because in the New Testament it talks about that, you know what I mean, who your brother is, and so forth. And I know since we're through the Christian church, we believe it's everybody, it's all the heathen around us, it's Esau next door to you, you know what I mean? You got it? What?
God, sir. The book of Leviticus, chapter 25, verse 35. And if thy brother,
If you who?
if thy brother
Your brother?
be waxen poor
Uh-huh.
and fallen in decay with thee,
Right?
then thou shalt relieve him.
Uh-huh.
Yea, though he be a stranger.
A what?
A stranger.
So right there, a stranger. Oh, keep going.
Or a sojourner.
Or a sojourner.
That
Anything
he
else?
may live with thee.
That he may live with thee. That's who your brother is, according to the Bible. Now, also, Officer Call, can you give me Numbers 1 and 18?
Sir, getting there right now.
Yes. So for your brother, they might have dark skin, but they might not be your people. You got it? Come.
The book of Numbers, chapter 1, verse 18. And they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month.
Right.
And they declared their pedigrees after their families, by the house of their fathers.
By the house of their fathers. So now it's more clarification about who your brother is. They got to come from the same bloodline as you, as the young man over there said, the same bloodline, you know what I mean? And so that same bloodline is always going to be Israel. So if somebody has a Edomite father or a Japanese father, they're not going to be you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Can you give me 1 John 4 and 20? I mean, and that's very important to know, because once you get into this truth, you're going to find out a lot of people want to make everybody your brother. You know what I mean? But if they're not a descendant of slaves, matter of fact, if they're not on the 12 tribe chart, somewhere around here, you know what I mean? Right there. If they're not on that sign right there, that is not your brother, and they're not your people. You know what I mean? So don't link with them. You gotta link with us. You got that verse for?
Sir, the book of 1 John, chapter 4, and verse 20. If a man say, I love God, and hateth his brother,
right,
he is a liar.
He is a liar. So if you hate your brother, you are a liar. Do any of y'all hate y'all brother? Nah. All right, that's good. Keep going.
For he that loveth not his brother, whom he hath seen, how can he love God?
How can he love? See, how can he love God? You got something to say, sir?
God, I do.
Sure.
You know, what you're saying is heavy, right? And what we definitely have to understand is that what the young man said. Everybody that say that they're your brother is so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native American people.
Right.
And it is so vital because this is something that we've never tried. We've never tried in our society under this regime, on this side of the earth, we've never tried to forgive one another. Mm-hmm. We never tried to say, you know what, I forgive you. We never tried that before as a whole. You know, you have some individuals that do, but as a whole, as a people, we never tried that. And once we do that, that take place, it's gonna be hell to pay in this country.
Absolutely.
Because all Blacks, Hispanics, and Native American people will understand and know that we're all brothers and we all have something in common. And we can fix the problem that we have.
Right. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. I mean, and what he was saying is so heavy because that's what we need to do. Blacks, Hispanics, Native Indians need to come together as one in order to fight this oppressor, because we cannot fight them individually. I mean, we see that what's going on. We see where that has led us so far. I mean, everybody wants to be an individual. Yeah. Do y'all know who Dr. Umar Johnson is? No?
I know.
This brother is an individual, you know what I mean? And he's failing because he is by himself. He has nobody backing him up, and he's trying to do it himself. And go ahead.
I was just going to echo that sentiment because Dr. Umar Johnson is in the so-called conscious community.
Yeah.
And in that conscious community, they don't have brotherhood.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard, many different stories, with Captain Tazariak battling, different brothers within the conscious community,
Right.
and they don't get along. Because
At all.
Sinetta, he will literally say that Captain Tazariak has had his back more than a lot of people that have been in that so-called conscious community.
Absolutely.
And Dr. Umar is one of those brothers
Mhm.
that's in that conscious community. And I saw an interview where Dr. Umar and Sinetta had a falling out, and they never fixed it because they don't have brotherhood.
Word? They never fixed it?
They never fixed it.
Damn. Couldn't be in here. We'll take it to council.
Concert.
Yes, sir. We'll take it. Go ahead.
If I may, that is like, the brotherhood in the UPK is second to none because they use scripture.
Absolutely.
I was just talking to somebody about this, and they were saying how, man, Salakia, I know who I was talking to.
Mhm.
I was talking to you. But that's the difference.
Right.
That's what we had. We had that brotherhood. We have something. We have something that is against a brother, or a brother has done something against you,
Mhm.
or it's just a misunderstanding. You can go directly to that brother.
Absolutely.
We don't have that in the world. The world don't believe that. Shit, Salaki, if I may, you go to a brother trying to deal with that brother and not understanding and not being under the brotherhood of the UPK,
Mhm.
shit, that brother might shoot you and kill you.
That's right. That's
Because
it.
he doesn't understand that this is my brother that's coming to me.
Right.
And he's using a commandment that was given to us by our king, that we should go to a brother if we have a fault with a brother. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So that's the difference. It's all about getting back to these scriptures under the ISUPK.
The water, sir. Adawan. Appreciate your comment. You know what I mean? And that goes to show you, like, once we go into in the book of 1 John, you know what I mean? How do you love somebody that you haven't seen, but your brother is here on earth that you do see? Can you read that for me again, Qual? Please.
The book of 1 John, chapter 4, verse 20. If a man say, I love God.
Right. So if a man says he loves God, go ahead.
And hateth his brother.
And he hates it, but he also hates his brother.
He is a liar.
He is a liar. So somebody is lying. The Christian church is lying because they hate their brother. You know what I mean? You concert.
I'm Salaki, but that right there is so heavy in itself right there.
Yes,
Because
sir.
you know how many brothers that say they love God,
Mhm.
or sisters that say they love God, but they hate their husband,
Right.
they hate their son,
Uh-huh.
they hate their biological brother and sister.
Right.
They hate it. So that's so heavy. And guess what? They'll go to church and get the Holy Ghost
Absolutely.
and lay all out and roll around on the floor
Uh-huh.
and act crazy.
Stomp their feet.
And then leave right out the church talking about how much they love God and get in the car and say, I hate that. I hate that.
That's right.
Right.
I'm serious.
Yes, sir.
That's why the divorce rate is so high. Because that sister that say she love God,
Mm-hmm.
she hate her husband.
Yeah.
She hate him. So when you say, like you said in this precept, if a man say, I love God and hate his brother, what is that? What does you consider what?
You a liar?
A liar.
Liar.
That's what God said that. If the Most High said it in his book, that's what it is.
Yes, sir.
So it doesn't even matter. There's no way of getting around it. There's no way of getting around it. So it's like, this is it. If somebody is standing before you and they saying they love God and they hate their brother, that's a liar in front of you. You don't even got to guess it. You ain't got to think about it. That's a liar.
Right.
Right?
Absolutely.
That's what it is.
The water out of one. And what he's saying was so heavy because I remember growing up as a Christian, you know what I mean? I was not the big brother that I was supposed to be, you know what I mean? And for a long time, like, I just regret not being there for my family, you know what I mean? Especially for my younger brother and my younger sister, you know what I mean? Because they went through so much because I was not there for them. But thank God that, you know what I mean, that I'm here now and I'm learning how to be a brother. I'm learning how to be a man. I'm learning how to be a good husband. You know what I mean? So when things come around, and now my little brother is watching classes, Now he sees the change in me. And truthfully, that right there in itself is a miracle, because the ISUPK is going to bring your family together. You know what I mean? Unlike the Christian church, who was going to separate. And that was such a big problem for us. It was a Christian church, because growing up, you know what I mean, I seen my parents always choose other people, you know what I mean, over their own family. Like, I seen it throughout my entire life. And that kind of toxic situation is going to get inside us, you know what I mean? But thank the Most High that I was able to come here, you know what I mean? I was able to change my life around. Sean, can y'all hear us now? Type a 1 in the chat if you can hear us.
Yeah, it's wild.
Slocky.
It's wild.
Yeah, it's Tawab. Oh, Slocky, everybody. Yeah.
Did you have to do anything?
I had to click unmute on the over here. I forgot I was unmuted over here. Khan.
All that time?
Yes, sir. I believe so. So.
All right.
So, to speed y'all up, we're doing brotherhood, and right now we're about to go to Matthew 12 and 47, and we're talking about Christ. Slakia. Khan.
Let them know.
Khan. So y'all didn't hear me in the beginning. We was talking about loving your brother and who your brother is. So we went to the verses, Numbers 1 and 18.
All right, let's get it.
Get that for me, please, sir.
Numbers 1 and 18, sir?
Yes, sir. Khan.
Are you getting it, my man?
Yes, sir.
They said it wasn't the whole time. It went out momentarily.
Oh, it just went out momentarily.
Something must have happened.
All right.
Khan.
Okay, so we to wild.
All right.
So let's go to Matthew.
Khan. Matthew 12.
So in Matthew 12, Yahushua got something to say about the matter about family. And here we see in Matthew chapter 12, you can start at verse 47. You got it?
God, sir.
Let's get it.
The book of Matthew, chapter 12, verse 47.
Come on.
Then one said unto him, Behold, thy mother and thy brethren stand without.
So here they saying to Yahushua, they saying, Behold, thy mother and thy brother is standing, they waiting to speak with you, right?
Right.
They're waiting for you, right? Read.
Desiring to speak with thee.
Come on.
But he answered and said unto him that
this is very important. He, which is Yahushua, answered and said unto him, read.
Unto him that told him, Who is my mother? And who are my brothers?
So it's a legitimate question. It's a legitimate question because this question has to be asked because of the simple fact of the type of battle that we're in with Christians and Muslims and atheists and Republicans and Democrats.
Right.
We're fighting against so many different systems that our people have been just saturated with. So Yahweh Shah says a perfect question. Well, who is my mother and my brother? Read.
For whosoever shall do the will of my Father.
Salakia, go to verse 49.
Oh, Salakia, sir. And he stretched
following you, someone that's under your teaching. So he stretched out his hand and said to those that was following him, that believed in him, right?
Right.
Who is my mother? Who is my brethren? This is what he said. Read.
And he stretched forth his hand toward his disciples and said, Behold, my mother and my brethren.
Read.
For whosoever shall do the will of my Father.
No, do the will of America.
Do the will of my Father.
No, do the will of the customs and policies of the Christian church.
Do the will of my Father.
Do the will of the Father. Every Christian has to understand that the will of the Father was written in the Old Testament.
Right.
It was written in those scriptures. This is not something new that Yahweh Shah is coming to right now. So he stretched forth his hand and said, whosoever do the will of my Father, which is in heaven, read.
The same is my brother and sister and mother.
Period. There it is right there. If you doing the will of the Father, and the will of the Father is, as he said in 1 John 4:20, is what? Let's get back to it. First John 4:20 says, if a man say, I love God and hate his brother, he is a liar. For he that loveth not his brother who he see, how can he say that he loved God?
Right.
Those are the ones that Yahweh Shah will stretch his hand forth and say, this is my mother, this is my brother, this is my sister.
The water say. Give him a hand for his. So this is my mother, this is my brother, and this is my father. And in the ISUPK, that is what we're building. So somebody who doesn't have a mother or a father, they know what that type of love is like. Or just for example, a brother. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times we've been betrayed by somebody we thought was a so-called friend. You know what I mean? I know I have. I don't know if anybody else has. I know I've been betrayed by somebody who called themselves a friend. You know what I mean? All right, next scripture. Can you give me Matthew 25 and verse 40?
Sir, I'll get there in a moment.
Mm-hmm. And this is why Black people need the Bible and we need these laws so we can come back together. Because like we have just been torn apart from each other. Like our love for each other is not there. You know what I mean? And the Bible is the only solution. The ISUPK is the only solution for Black people. You got it?
Sir. Okay. The book of Matthew, chapter 25 and verse 40. And the king shall answer and say unto them, Verily, I say unto you, inasmuch as ye have done it unto one of the least of my brethren, ye have done it unto me.
That's right. Can you read it one more time? Let me get there with you.
Sir. The book of Matthew, chapter 25 and verse 40. And the king shall answer and say unto them, Verily, I say unto you, inasmuch as ye have done it unto one of the least of my brethren.
Stop right there. He said, into the least of his brethren. So who will be the least of your brethren? That's talking about the poor. That's talking about, you know what I mean? The drug dealers, you know what I mean? That's somebody that's not all the way there, the mentally ill, you know what I mean? Those are your least of your brothers, because there's some people out there that suffer from mental illnesses, you know what I mean? And they need help because of what they've been through, about the trauma that they've been through. Go ahead.
Sir. And as much as ye have done it unto one of the least of these, my brethren, ye have done it unto me.
You have done it unto me. So this is a big thing. Like when I was a Christian and I was reading this verse, I said to myself, how can these people say they love God, but they're not helping the people who God has come to serve? Because I will hear all the time, you know what I mean? Oh, we love Jesus Christ, you know what I mean? We love God. And I mean, they'll sit there and they'll sing a million songs about him. But I looked in the church and there's nothing but rivalries going on, you know what I mean? There's nothing but drama going on. So I decided to go through that. I'm sitting there looking like, I'm like, damn, like what are these like what are these Christians talking about, man? You know what I mean? He said, it also says this, you have done it unto me. So, and this is how we serve Christ truthfully. You know what I mean? Is when we look at somebody out there that's poor, you know what I mean? Like if I see somebody homeless, they out there on the street, you know what I mean? And I'm driving by, like I give them a few dollars if I have some, you know what I mean? And then I give the information to the class. One brother actually knew about the Israelites, you know what I mean? And he knew about Commander General Yohana, and he was shocked that somebody like me was still here. I said, yeah, we down here in Smyrna, Delaware. You know what I mean? I gave him all the information, but he ain't never come through. Maybe he's working something out, but I pray that brother come in. I really do. You know what I mean? Can you take it from the top, Paul, please?
The book of Matthew, chapter 25, verse 40. And the king shall answer and say unto them, verily I say unto you, inasmuch as ye have done it unto one of the least of these my brethren, ye have done it unto me.
Now Christ is calling these people his brethren. I got a question for you. Was Christ, what race was Christ? Do y'all know? Go ahead. I can't hear you. He was black, right? But according to the Bible, what is he? That's right. Now, but also according to the Bible, what would he be? Like what tribe was he from? That's right, tribe of Judah. So Christ was an Israelite according to the Bible. And so when he's saying my brethren, he's only talking about Israelites. No other nation can get that. Nobody else can. You know what I mean? For the next verse, can you give me Matthew chapter 18 and verse 21?
Sir, Matthew 18 and 21.
Yes, sir. Okay, I'm not touching that.
I don't know why.
It went out a minute ago, just a minute ago.
I don't know why it's going. There you go. Keep an eye on this. Make sure this
don't have an X on it, because if they have an X on it, that means you're muted.
Come. Slack it, Israel. But as I was saying, I was giving my story about me damn, I lost my train of thought. Yeah, so back to what I was saying. My slavery, right? So this brother comes to me, he apologizes to me, you know what I mean? And we shake hands, we link up, you know what I mean? He gave me his info, I gave him mine, and I also gave him my information. Now I told him to come to ISUPK Delaware South, you know what I mean? I wrote it all out for him, but of course he ain't show up. But it's all good. But the point of the story is that we're supposed to forgive each other. And another example of who not to forgive is this filthy Edomite. Now, this lady, I did not forgive. You know what I mean? Because she disrespected me, and I knew she was Esau, you know what I mean? So I said, she gets no love over here, you know what I mean? And she tried to patch things up without apologizing for it. And in my head, I was like, man, F this chick, you know what I mean? So I just cut her off completely. I didn't talk to her. And then she threatened to go take me to the boss. You know what I mean? I said, go ahead, because I'm right and you're wrong. So we can go there. But guess what she never did? She never went to the boss. She never apologized. And from that day, I do not speak to her. You know what I mean? Because I am not about to be disrespected by some lowly Esau woman. You know what I mean? Like, just disgusting looking.
Concert. If
Go ahead.
Lucky, if I could.
Yeah.
And that's the perfect example of showing love to your people. And then not showing love to the other nations. Because probably, you could gain a brother by, patching things up. But your enemy, you patch things up, she might have a second chance to do something vile or evil to you.
Exactly.
And if I could just read one scripture.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
And it's about the enemy. This is Ecclesiasticus chapter 12, verse 10. And it says, never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness.
Absolutely.
Which means that eventually iron is going to rust, however shiny and nice it looks.
Right.
Eventually that iron is going to rust. Eventually that Edomite, that devil, is going to show her true colors.
Absolutely.
If you would forgave her, but you were so wise as not to, and she would have probably done something and showed her true colors.
Absolutely. I appreciate that, brother. I really do. And that's such an excellent point. And since you brought up enemies, I actually have another example that's also inside the Bible. So can we give me 1 Samuel chapter 24 and verse 4? Now, we all know who King David is, right? I assume we do. He's a pretty famous character in the Bible. You know what I mean? Do all his war, all his war stories. We're going to show you what it means when you love, when you forgive your people, you have mercy on your people, compared to having mercy on the enemy. You got it?
So you said 1 Samuel chapter 24 and 4, correct?
Yes. Let me get that for you with you real quick.
Sir.
You said 1 Samuel 24 and 4?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Let me get that real quick. All right, go ahead, young man, Kevin.
Man. And the men of David said unto him, this is 1 Samuel chapter 24, verse 4. And the men of David said unto him, behold, the day of which the Lord said unto thee, behold, I delivered thine enemy unto the hand.
Stop right there. So now, for y'all get the understanding of the story, King David has an enemy. You know what I mean? And we're about to figure out who this enemy is. Go ahead.
And that thou mustest do to him as it shall seem good unto thee. Then David arose and cut off the skirt of Saul.
Of who?
Of Saul.
Hold on, right there. See, now Saul was an Israelite. You know what I mean? But here, the Bible is calling him his enemy.
Yeah. It's such a moment that it just like he said in 1 Samuel 24:5. It says, and it came to pass that after that David's heart smote him because he cut off Saul's skirt. So, like I was saying, you feel that in your chest. You feel that now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You go something, you do something or something take place, boom, you feel that feeling in your chest. And so that's real heavy right there.
What I say. You can continue reading for me.
Verse 6. And he said unto his men, the Lord forbid that I should do this thing unto my master, the Lord's anointed, to stretch forth my hand against him, seeing he is the anointed of the Lord.
So can you drop down to verse 8 for me, please?
Verse 8. This is the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 24, and verse 8. And David also arose afterward and went out of the cave and cried after Saul, saying, my Lord, the king. And when Saul looked, behold him with his face to the ground and bowed himself.
So also, David, so this is David's enemy. King Saul, he's trying to kill him, you know what I mean? And he's at war, literally at war with him. And David cut his skirt off. And now King David is running after King Saul, saying, look, and he bows himself to him. Well, it's a great sign of respect. You know what I mean? Can you keep going for me, please?
This is 1 Samuel chapter 24 and verse 9. And David said unto Saul, wherefore heareth thy men's words, saying, behold, David seeketh thy hurt. Verse 10, behold, the day thy eyes have seen how the Lord had delivered thee to the day into my hand in the cave. And some bade me to kill thee, but my eyes spared thee.
Stop right there. Now you see that listen, King David, this is a perfect example of how you love your enemies. You know what I mean? Because you spared him. You spared King Saul that day. You know what I mean? King David spared King Saul. You know what I mean? And so that's how we should look at our brothers today. When we look at our brothers today and we have beef with them, you know what I mean? And we know we can do harm to them, you should always spare them. Well, not always spare them, but you should always have forgiveness towards your brother. You know what I mean? You should always look at them like, damn, this the Lord's anointed. This the God. These are God's people right here. Like, I can't do no harm to them. But also on the flip side, we all know who Goliath is, right? You know what I mean? Y'all know who Goliath is, right? David killed that nigga. You know what I mean? He killed Goliath. He ain't have no remorse or nothing over him. You know what I mean? Oh man.
You want the rest of that?
So you can read it for me, please.
And I said, I will not put forth my hand against my Lord, for he is the Lord's anointed.
Yeah, so he's the Lord's anointed. You know what I mean? These are God's, listen, the Israelites is God's chosen people. We are the Lord's anointed. You know what I mean? Right. And we just have to, and since King David is like the perfect example for just a lot of things. I mean, other than Christ also is like the perfect example, you know what I mean? But for my next verse, you know what I mean? It's one of my favorite stories in the Bible we're going to get to. But before that, you give me John 15 and verse 12. You know what I mean? Let me get there with y'all. First John. I mean, and this is why brotherhood is so important. You know what I mean? I keep stressing this every single time. 15. All right.
John, you said John 15 and 12?
Yes, sir. John 15 and 12. Go ahead and read it when you got it.
This is the book of John, chapter 15, verse 12.
Uh-huh.
This is my commandment, that ye love one another as I have loved you.
Right.
Verse 13. Greater love have no man than this.
Stop right there. See, now this is what Christ is saying. What Christ is about to say, he's saying this is the greatest love that a man can have. This right here is the greatest love. Go ahead.
That a man lay down his life.
That a man do what?
That a man lay down his life.
Uh-huh.
For his friends.
For his friends. This is how you know you have a true friend, when he is ready and willing to die with you and fight for you. Then he is willing to lay down his life for you. Now, everybody in the ISUPK knows about the recent attack on us in Kansas City. You know what I mean? It was 4 brothers down there that was attacked by the purple sodomites. And those 4 brothers showed no greater love when they defended each other. They was ready to fight for each other no matter what the cost. It was like 30, I don't know how many purple sodomites out there. It was like 30 of them. But they all stood their ground and they all fought. That is what we're talking about. And this is also no cowards, you know what I mean? Like somebody to come and fight with you, you got to be on go. And I got an example for you inside the Bible. Can you give me 1 Samuel chapter 14, and we're going to start at verse 1. You know what I mean? And this is why I love the scriptures, you know what I mean? Because you can find everything inside is inside the Bible. All of it. Let me get there for you. Let me get there, young man Kevin. You got it? You start reading for me.
This is the book of 1 Samuel chapter 14, verse 1. Now it came to pass upon a day that Jonathan, the son of Saul, over he told not his father.
You stop right there. See, now, since we talking about war, you know what I mean? And then John said, I mean, that you laid down your life for your friend. This is when Jonathan and his armor bearer, you know what I mean? They seen the Philistines over there, and they said, man, let's go over there and fight. Drop down to verse 6 for me.
Call out where you at again?
I'm in 1 Samuel. What I just read was 1 Samuel 14 and 1. And now we're going to 1 Samuel 14 and verse 6.
Wow. This is the book of 1 Samuel chapter 14, verse 6. And Jonathan said unto the young man that bare his armor, come, and let us go over to the garrison. Go unto the garrison of these uncircumcised, and may be that the Lord will work for us.
Stop right there. See, now it's just, remember, it's just 2 niggas right here. It's Jonathan and his armor bearer, right? And he's looking over at the enemy and he's saying, let us go over there. Continue.
For there is no restraint to the Lord to save by many or by few.
See, Jonathan knew that the Lord was with him, you know what I mean? And he knows the power of the Most High. So he's saying there is nothing that God can't do, whether it be a lot of us or just be a little bit. Go ahead.
This is 1 Samuel chapter 14, verse 7. And his armor bearer said unto him, do all that is in thine heart. Turn thee, behold, I am with thee according to thy heart.
Stop right there. See, and this is the kind of brother that you want to have in like a time of war. You know what I mean? A brother that's on go, like you would just call him and be like, yo, I need help over here. You know what I mean? Here we come running. You want this kind of love for a brother that you have, whether it be an armor bearer. I mean, this is Jonathan's armor bearer right here. You know what I mean? And he's saying he's ready to fight no matter what. No matter if he was right. He don't know, listen, man, he don't know what he was getting into. You know what I mean? He was just know he was going to go fight. You know what I mean?
Right.
Read that again for me, brother. Verse 7.
14, verse 7. And his armor bearer said unto him, is in
Slide it for the sound. We got it together. I don't know why it keeps freezing. But can you read that verse again for me so you can hear us?
This is the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 14 and verse 13. And Jonathan climbed up upon his hands and upon his feet.
Right.
And his armor bearer after him.
Right. So, and his armor bearer came with him. Go ahead.
And they fell before Jonathan. And his armor bearer slew after him.
Right. So what it's saying, so Jonathan is fighting and his armor bearer is right behind him. So he's running towards the enemy, you know what I mean? And his armor bearer is behind him. And as whoever Jonathan did not kill with the first strike, his armor bearer cleaned up. Go ahead.
Verse 14. And that first slaughter which Jonathan and his armor bearer made was about 20 men.
Was about 20 men. Jonathan and his armor bearer killed 20 men by themselves. It was just two of them. You know what I mean? Killed 20 men. Go ahead.
Within as it were a half acre of land.
Now, do y'all know how big a half acre of land is? Anybody know? No? What is it? Go ahead.
What's a half acre?
Yeah, like how big is a half acre of land?
Like what you mean, like square feet?
Nah, just like how big do you think it is? Like, you know what I mean, compare it to something. So
like a half a football field.
Right, that's exactly right. So the brother said it's a half a football field, you know what I mean? That's a half acre of land. So can you imagine it's two. You and your brother out there, right? Y'all discover yourselves unto the enemy. Y'all jump out. You know what I mean? Because you know you want to fight, and you hear the enemy out there talking trash, and you and your friend killed 20 people within a football field. I don't know. When I read that, I get hyped. I don't know. That's just me personally. All right, you go ahead and continue.
Which a yoke of oxen might plow. Verse 15. And there was a trembling in the host and the field and among all the people. And garrison the people and all of Salaki. Verse 15.
Right.
And there was trembling in the host and in the field and among all the people. The garrison and the spoilers, they also trembled. And the earthquake also was a very great trembling.
Now, do y'all know why there was a great trembling? Because after Jonathan and his armor bearer killed those 20 men, they sent the Philistines running. You know what I mean? And now we could tie it back to brotherhood, because we was in the book of John, Slakia, chapter 15 and verse 12, and we was talking about somebody that will go to war with you. You know what I mean? Somebody that will lay down his life for you. You know what I mean? And that is very important. Slakia, I don't know what happened.
My commandment, that ye love one another as I have loved you. Greater love had no man than this, that a man would lay down his life for his friends.
Right. That man will lay down his life for his friends. You know what I mean? And that's why I brought y'all to that verse inside if I first Samuel with Jonathan and his armor bearer. Because his armor bearer was willing and ready to fight, die, or live with this man. You know what I mean? So I mean, shout out to the armor bearer. So whoever this guy was, you know what I mean? He was not afraid to fight for his brother, to go down with his brother, regardless of the outcome. But they also knew they was fighting with the Lord. For my next scripture, we go to Matthew 5 and 22.
Salaki, if I could.
Yeah, go ahead.
You know, coming into the UPK,
right?
You know, I have, well, first being in the world, there are a few friends. And there's people coming against and you outnumbered, or somebody that's have assured us be like the armor bearer. Brotherhood, where no matter what's happening, if it's
Slack it for the sound, y'all. We don't know what's going on. Having technical difficulties. But can you give me Matthew 5 and 22?
Matthew 5 and 22.
Yeah.
One moment, I'll get there.
I'm gonna get there with you.
Sir. So the book of Matthew, chapter 5, verse top.
Yeah. All right, go ahead.
The book of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 22. But I say unto you that whosoever is angry with his brother without a cause shall be in danger of the judgment.
Now, this verse is so heavy, you know what I mean? Because there's a lot of jealousy that goes on, especially among Israel, you know what I mean? You might be jealous of your brother or something like that. And this is saying, don't be angry with them without a cause. So you can't just be hating on a brother for no reason. You know what I mean? That makes you in danger of the judgment. For example, now we're going to be in 1 Samuel a lot because Saul was one hating ass nigga. Let me I'm trying to tell you, man. We 1 Samuel 18. We're gonna start at verse 6. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna get there with you, man. Man, Saul was a trip, man. Like this dude started off great and then just kept getting out of pocket as the story goes on. You know what I mean? Let me know when you get there, Paul.
Sir, that was 1 Samuel 18 and 26.
18 and verse 6.
18 and verse 6. Sir, I'm there. And I'll go ahead and read what you read.
Let me get there 1 second. All right, yeah, go ahead.
The book of 1 Samuel, chapter 18 and verse 6. And it came to pass as they came, when David was returned from the slaughter of the Philistines.
So David is returned from the slaughter of the Philistines. So he's coming back from war. Go ahead.
That the woman came out of all that the women came out of all the cities of Israel.
Hold up. Now the women are coming out, man. So after you get done war, the women is looking around like, who the hell is that? Who survived? Who got the most bodies on them? Who killed the most people? Go ahead.
Singing and dancing.
They singing and dancing. Now, as Israel, we know what girls dance like. You know what I mean? They start shaking that. Go ahead.
To meet King Saul. With what is that? Tabrets.
Tabrets. I don't know what that is.
With joy. And with instruments of music.
Yup.
Verse 7.
Go ahead.
And the women answered one another as they played and said, Saul has slain his thousands.
Slain how many?
Has slain his thousands.
Okay.
And David his 10,000.
Stop right there.
Good night.
I know, right? You know how crazy that is? You the king of Israel, you know what I mean? And you got your young boy doing better than you. And they sit there, all the women come out the city, and they said, this nigga killed thousands, but he killed 10,000s. You know what I mean? How would y'all feel about that? I don't know, man. I don't know. King Saul, you might have a little bit of reason to be angry on that one. Maybe. Just maybe. But I don't know. But also on some real, right? You have to celebrate your brother doing good. You know what I mean? Like you see your brother out there, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, like if y'all play sports or anything, you know what I mean? He's scoring more points. You got something to say?
I do. Oh, it's a lot.
You said when you play sports? Basketball? Football? Right, so let me ask you. You see your brother out there, right? I don't know, you like a wide receiver? Yeah. A what? No, okay. So, I don't know. Your friend scored more touchdowns than you, right? You gonna be happy or sad for him? Happy, absolutely. So now, what if the crowd start cheering? You know what I mean? They saying you only scored 1 touchdown, but he scored 5 touchdowns. What you gonna do then? You still gonna be happy for him, right? And that's how it's supposed to be, because that's someone's true brotherhood. You know what I mean? Carl, you got something to say?
God, sir, I was gonna say, you know, sometimes you can be on that field or you could be on that court.
Yep.
And you know, I'm the type of brother, even in the world, like if my brother, if he's hot and he's hitting threes or he's getting to that basket,
right?
I'm gonna dish the ball to him.
Absolutely.
We on the same team. We trying to win. I'm gonna be happy for him. I'm gonna celebrate that victory. But it looked like Saul. And you probably get to it. Look like he's doing the opposite.
Yeah, man. He was salty as hell. All right, you keep reading verse 8.
Verse 8. And Saul was very wroth. See?
Uh-huh.
And the saying displeased.
Hold on a second. Do y'all know what wroth means? Y'all heard it before? So wroth means angry. You know what I mean? Like Saul, I told y'all, Saul was a hating ass boy. So I can put it down. So Sam, listen, man. Hating ass boy, man. Like y'all don't ever be like that. You ever see your brother doing good? Make sure you cheer for him. You know what I mean? Because he's gonna remember that. You know what I mean? And don't ever hang out with somebody hating. I had a hating ass friend growing up, man. I used to work at Amazon with this dude, right? He was so mad. This dude was so mad that the girl he liked me. And so this nigga started hating on me. I'm like, dog, man, you was such a you know what I mean? Go ahead. Yeah.
Did he start dirty macking, like trying to say bad stuff about you to her?
I don't know. I don't know if he went that far, but I could see it all over his face. You know what I mean? His face was all disgruntled, like, man, how did this dude get her and I didn't get her because I'm better than you, nigga. Like, all right, you go and keep reading for me, bro.
I'll read it from the top.
Go ahead.
The book of 1 Samuel, chapter 18 and verse 8.
Yeah.
And Saul was very wroth.
Uh-huh.
And the saying displeased him.
Oh, man. Listen, hold on. The singing displeased them, man. Can you imagine that you're young boy? I mean, listen, you all supposed to be proud of that shit. I'm slacking. You're supposed to be proud of that. You know what I mean? You're somebody under you doing better than you. Congratulate them. Over here in the ISUBK, I congratulate everybody that's doing good, no matter what. I'm in no competition with anybody. You know what I mean? I don't care if anybody gets raised up before me. I don't care who came after me, who came before me. I'm proud of everybody. You know what I mean? Go ahead.
And he said, they have ascribed unto David 10,000.
Oh, man. So they're coming out, they're singing this joint over and over again. You know what I mean? So he's going to remind listen, King David got all the glory that day. Go ahead.
And to me they have ascribed but thousands.
Thousands. Oh,
and
man.
what can he have more but the kingdom?
Right.
Verse 9. And Saul eyed David.
He did what?
And Saul eyed David.
He did what?
Eyed David.
What that mean, Carl, when he eyes somebody?
He's looking out the corner of his eye at him like this.
Yeah,
right here.
He's side-eyeing this nigga.
All right, good. So, like, if I could, when we were at the Passover, and they had that kids' day. You're right. There was laser tag. Mm-hmm. I consider myself a shooter, right? Big stepper. So we had the laser tag going on. Go ahead. And I was watching everybody. Some way, somehow, my own son outscored me. He's only 8 years old. But I celebrated that. If I wanted to win, but even though he won. You know, you got to celebrate that because at the end of the day, there's going to be times where God is going to give you your glory and God is going to give your brother his glory. Absolutely. You should glory in both of those, you know, for the sake of the Most High, blessing y'all.
Absolutely.
This verse right here is showing that Saul, he's giving his own brother the side eye. Right?
Hating ass nigga. You don't want, yo, man. How you going to side eye the person that you raised up?
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's crazy. And that's your seed. You know what I mean? So you can't be mad at him. Like, he's supposed to do better than you.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you will want him to do better than you.
Right.
Like I can't wait till I have my first son. I'm gonna teach him everything that I didn't have. You know what I mean? Everything I wasn't taught. I want him to be great, be better than me. You know what I mean? I want him to become an ISUPK and do much better than me.
Right.
You know what I mean? But you keep on going for me.
And Saul eyed David from that day and forward.
And that day forward, King Saul. Do not be like King Saul ever. You know what I mean? Like I keep saying, that's your brother doing good, congratulate him. That's your sister out there doing good, congratulate her. You know what I mean? Whew. All right. Let me go to my next scripture. Now, we getting towards the end. Give me Mark chapter 12 and verse 31. You know what I mean? Like I keep saying, y'all want y'all brothers and y'all see to do better than you. You know what I mean? Like, do not become a hating. Like, do not covet another man's success. Your time will come. Like, if you stay in this truth long enough, your time to shine will come. If you really want it, you know what I mean? The Most High is not going to bless you with a chance to be great if you lazy. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, King David wasn't no lazy ass nigga. You know what I mean? He was out there in the field. You know what I mean? As soon as David went out there and he saw the Philistine Goliath out there talking trash, he went out there to meet him. You know what I mean? He didn't hold back. He didn't cower. He didn't. You know what I mean? What do I do now? What am I going to do next? You know what I mean? He didn't worry about none of that. It wasn't about status. Man, King David said, "Who is this uncircumcised Philistine talking trash?"
Right.
And he went out there to meet him. You got that verse for me, sir?
Mark 12 and 31.
Yes, sir. Wait, let me get there with you. I was doing a lot of talking. You go ahead and start reading now.
The book of Mark, chapter 12, verse 31.
Uh-huh.
And the second is like, namely this.
Okay.
Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself.
Who you want to love?
Thy neighbor as thyself.
You're going to love your neighbor as yourself. You know what I mean? Because this is what the Bible hangs on. You loving your neighbor and you loving the Most High. This is what the law is about. You know what I mean? Go ahead.
I was just going, like, after you finish this verse, I wanted to further your point from earlier when you were talking about who is your brother.
Yeah.
Because there's another precept that I just thought of.
You got it?
Con.
Go read it for me. You know what I mean? You should love your neighbor as yourself. You know what I mean? And I know in earlier class, we went through who your neighbor actually was. It's only Israelites. You know what I mean? So what the Most High always been talking about, Israel, Israel, Israel. You got that verse?
Con, sir.
You go ahead.
This is the book of Leviticus, chapter 19, 17 through 18.
Uh-huh.
Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thine heart.
Right.
Thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor.
Right.
And not suffer sin upon him.
Okay.
Verse 18. Thou shalt not avenge nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people.
Listen, I appreciate that verse. Really do. I was looking for that scripture earlier today,
okay,
but I went to Leviticus 25. I appreciate it. Now I'm going to put that in my precept book. I got it now. But yeah, man, can you read that from the top?
Thou shalt not avenge nor bear it. Oh, from 17 as well?
Yeah, where you started from?
Okay, Leviticus 19 and 17. Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thine heart.
Uh-huh.
Thou shalt not in any wise rebuke thy neighbor.
Right.
And not suffer sin upon him.
Okay.
Thou shalt not avenge nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people. But thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself.
Absolutely.
I am the Lord.
I see, you know what I mean? Christ, go ahead.
I was just going to say the fact that people can say all they want about who your brother is, who your neighbor is.
Right.
This tells you right there and sums it up and says, don't hate the children of thy people. The children of thy people are blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans.
It's damn right, man. So listen, the Bible is not talking about Esau, which is the Caucasians, the oppressor, also known as the devil. Young man, keep me on my toes. I appreciate it. But like I was saying, man, that Edomite at my job, she gets no love from me, ever. You know what I mean? It's just so, in brotherhood, well, let me just say this. Listen, my slavery got all kinds of crap happening, you know what I mean? So I'm talking to one of my peoples down there, he's Jamaican. There's this new Esau girl, right? New oppressor. She about 23, you know what I mean? Now, I ain't gonna lie, she got a nice body on her. But I told him, I'm like, yo, nigga, stay away from her, man. She is not it, you know what I mean? I was like, I'm keep trying to tell you, man, stay away from the daughter of the oppressor. Stay away from them. All the Asians, you know what I mean? The Africans, the Arabs, I'm like, they are going to destroy you, you know what I mean? And since I told you the truth, slacking for that. But yeah, stay away from the dog of the oppressor, you know what I mean? Because eventually the racism always comes out. You will be called a nigger if you are dating a, whether subtly, they'll say something racist, you know what I mean? They'll call you a thug. That means you're a nigger. You know what I mean? Don't get it twisted. You know what I mean? They'll call you a little punk. That means you're a nigger. You know what I mean? Listen, man, I had this devil at my job, you know what I mean? He a customer. I'm sitting there dealing to him. He goes, why you do that for me, boy? I look right up in his eyes. I said, what you call me? He said, oh, I'm sorry. I mean, boy is also racist. You know what I mean? For y'all, youngies that don't know, boy is like an old slave term. You know what I mean? Don't let no older devil call you a boy. That's just racist. Slakia. I keep saying shit. You know what I mean? That's racist. Don't let it happen. Speaking of racism, you have to become racist. All right. If you want to enact true brotherhood, you have to be racist. I'm just saying how it is. You know what I mean? Racism works. Look at the empire that America has made based off racism, based off them loving their own people, them showing them brotherhood to their own people. You know what I mean? Rather than showing it to you. Become racist, but don't become like a violent racist. You know what I mean? Like just separate away from their ideas, separate from their way of living. You know what I mean? And that's how we got to do it. You got something to say? Anybody else got anything to say before I close the class? All right.
So like you got your phone with the announcements on?
I do. With that, I'll pass the class over to Precinct Officer Dacian. Oh, I mean Precinct Officer Qual. Yeah. I'm tired. Turn it over. Oh, it's not a touch screen, huh?
Turn the whole thing, it might work. I normally just turn the whole thing.
All right, you go ahead.
All right, this is ISUPK security announcements. Rules for new brothers and sisters. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to learn and shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, they are to seek counsel from the heads. Tithes, which is a commandment, Numbers 18 and 21, and Malachi 3:8 through 10, means tenth in Hebrew, ma'ashara. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you. Priest fund, a free will offering for the priest can be given. It's not mandatory. Whatever amount you would like. That could be funds. That could be a bottle. Upcoming holy convocations. We have our next holy convocation will be Feast of the Blowing of the Trumpets. That'll be Friday, the 15th of September. You can find that in Leviticus 23, 24 through 25. We see for our Akim and Aquaf who have bulletin boards in the hallways, always check that if you want. Salakia, sir? Oh, Salakia. Any one that wants to be a trooper in the school, wear all black boots, shirt, pants, headbands, and scarf. With that being said, Amijah, which means to stand. Amijah Shabbat. Amijah Barak. Yahweh Hashem Shabbat. We're going to give a courtesy. Yajamatah. Sar, which means the term. We're going to give the sisters a courtesy salute. Amijah Shabbat. Salakia, men of Israel. Amijah Shabbat. Amijah Barak.
Yahweh Shamar Adam Hashem Yahushua.
With that being said, class dismissed.
Oh man.